from Nerdimations, and today we are continuing the Uncolonized series. Last time we saw the World War One in Africa, and now we're going to see the verse the treaties that would come to the African Central Powers. Remember, email me at oats. Please email me you if you have a middle school. If you have questions about middle school, and I will answer them sometime soon. Soon, and submit them either in the comment sections or at utsun on 00 at gmail.com. Okay, got it? Got it. Now let's begin. First, let's see the countries that came to the treaty. The Paris Peace Conference would see Congo, Botswana, the Ndeble, the Ethiopia, the Oromos, the EAR, Sudan, and Mali, Morocco, and Libya. The last two countries that switched sides during the war. The first issue was Algiers. The French almost immediately came to the suggestion of getting the country back. But all the African powers unanimously agreed. No, you're not going to do that. And they said, France, no, you're not getting back this colony. And the British came up with the idea of the French getting a mandate over it. But once again, this was a decline. African nations wanted only Africans on the continent. And already the Mali kingdom was eyeing up making an alliance with the recently defeated Sekutu to take the British out of West Africa once and for all. But we'll get to that later. Anyways, Algeria was simply told pay a ton of reparations, but the Algerians said that they'd only do this if it was to other African powers, and especially not France. It's because would you really help the country who just occupied you for 50 years? I wouldn't. Then it moved to Egypt. But Egypt was a major trouble. Even though the deal was supposed to be that it would come under British mandate, Egypt resisted and even defeated the British off the coast of Alexandria in March of 1919. As in basically saying, fuck off. But the British did not fuck off, and they brought everyone else. Or at least they thought they brought everyone else, but instead had the rest of Africa said no. And instead the British were only handed the city of Suez. Nothing else. Not even the rest of the Suez Canal. Just Suez. Now, that's what I call disrespect. In another type of manner. Now let's see the main parts of the alliance. The French came back once again and said, "Give me colonies," suggesting that both the Ivory Kingdom and the Samori be annexed. But the Samori didn't accept the treaty, and neither did anyone else in Africa. the British didn't really care because they had India and their other major colonies, which were, and they at least had Suez. Which, sure, they definitely went to build a railroad from Cape Town to Cairo, but at this point they knew that it would only be done under cooperation and not under forced conquest. And so they also declined the French ideas, mainly for the business interests of keeping Africa in. The French then came in with a good idea that would have actually spelled the end for West African kingdoms. This line: everything to this side goes to France besides Sierra Leone, and everything to this side goes to the British. But the British once again declined, and because as they knew that taking over the Sokoto would still be easier said than done. Sure, they occupied a part of it, but it didn't really matter. Plus, remember, the rest of Africa was not fond of nearby colonialists. So all that happened was that Lagos was handed over as a mandate, and the western parts of the Sokoto were put under temporary occupation for the next year. So far, the treaty was going okay, but no one had figured out what to do with the Wassalu. But then the British and Africans cooked up a pretty good deal. First, Sierra Leone would be slightly expanded, and very slightly. Next, the central Samoa territory would be separated from the rest of the original king. Next, Liberia and the Ivory Kingdom would share the southern Samoan territories, the far south, and the rest would be repurposed into a few new states. First, Futa would be brought back to life. Hallelujah, hallelujah. This time, I'm after waiting so long, they finally got out of Senegal. And the rest of the area would be divided like this. Here there would be Guinea here and Senegal here. Yeah. With Senegal being under British protection until all the French were ensured to not invade it. It was a hit, but the Wassalu weren't very fond of it. They did accept the new British claims, but none of the others were respected, including the three new kingdoms. And the Wassalu were that and given a slightly better proposal. All that included the second Futa kingdom being pushed slightly north, and them getting a coast by abolishing the possibility of Guinea. This was better for the Wassalu, but this still meant that they had lost basically all their work to fight the French. But they knew that it was either this or being totally destroyed, and so they accepted it. Well, some of them accepted it. As in March of 1919, right before the Treaty of Dakar was supposed to go into effect, and many revolts began to be sprung up by the military and workers who had joined up because up, up to try and stop the treaty from being put into effect. They were quickly able to seize a good portion of Fujilone's territories, or that were either already that were that either if they were ceded or not. Meanwhile, Fujilone was able to barely get out of it. But they also changed their name, because at this point, Fujilone's old territories were still under the Wasselu, and they became the kingdom of